Fans are beginning to feel a bit worried about Khamzat Chimaev after some eye-opening comments from Arman Tsarukyan came out of his training camp. Arman, who trains closely with Khamzat, gave us a glimpse into what's really going on. And honestly, it's a little alarming. Right now, most of the buzz around the upcoming Dricus du Plessis title fight is focused on one possible weak point in Khamzat's game, his cardio. But Khamzat is doing everything he can to fix it. He's been training like an absolute machine, but maybe too much. Arman revealed that in this camp, Khamzat has taken things up another level. He's added serious recovery and functional training. He's doing strength and conditioning workouts twice a week, on top of his usual sparring and wrestling. He's even working with a dedicated coach just for cardio, strength, and conditioning. Now, all of that sounds great, right? But here's the catch. He doesn't stop. Ever. He's pushing so hard that they actually had to bring in someone just to monitor him all the time and force him to rest. Every morning, Khamzat is hooked up to a recovery system. If the data shows he hasn't fully recovered, no training, no sparring, no grind, nothing. They literally have to stop him from pushing too far. Josh Thompson reacted to this news and even brought up the possibility of Khamzat retiring. Let's dive in.
Fingers crossed that he stays healthy, and whoever wins this fight, it wins this fight. But I don't think the UFC is thinking like if he wins, it's tragic. No, it's not. No. You know, but I would be a little concerned about his health. Truly would be. Wasn't there a fighter recently just said that he wouldn't be surprised if he retired right there in the cage?
Yeah, someone did.
Chimaev won the title, that he would retire right there in the cage. Kai Bahalo, I think, said that.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I mean, not even possible.
They've trained together, Kai and Chimaev. I mean, maybe there's a little something going on. Like, yeah, man, can't stay healthy, getting in, whatever it is, injuries, whatever. You never know. Because I got to be honest, I had this conversation quite a bit with Habib. Is I'm going to win the title, defend it, and I'm done. He talked about that before his father passed. He's like, brother, I don't need to fight very long. Like, I don't need to. So fight, win the title, defend it a couple times, and then be done. He's like, I don't need to be in the sport too long.
Dricus du Plessis just said something big. He admitted that Israel Adesanya is the best opponent he's ever faced. He opened up about how nervous he was before that fight, something we rarely hear from fighters at this level. He said Izzy is unpredictable and dangerous at any moment in the fight. Dricus even said he used to look up to Adesanya. He studied his style for years. Izzy was the benchmark in the division, the guy everyone had to beat. Even though Adesanya is now on a 3-fight losing streak and doesn't have a fight booked at the moment, Dricus still gave him full respect. Now, Izzy is expected to rematch either Sean Strickland or Paulo Costa, but nothing's official yet. Meanwhile, Dricus is preparing for one of the biggest fights of his life, against the undefeated, terrifying force that is Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319. A lot of fans and experts are saying this might be Dricus' toughest opponent yet. And let's not forget, both of these guys have been throwing serious heat at each other, even death threats. The tension is through the roof. Dricus knows Khamzat is probably going to take him down at some point, but he's not planning to stay down. He's made it clear. Getting held down is not an option. He's ready to fight, stand up, and turn this into a war. Here's what Dricus had to say about Izzy.
My toughest opponent to date? Well, that's a very open-ended question, because there were fights that were the hardest for me. I have to say probably Adesanya was the best guy I faced in his specific area. Probably the fight I was the most nervous for. Just in terms of how good he is. He can catch you with anything, anytime. All the time I spent looking up to him and studying him, because he was the benchmark. Knowing what he's capable of. I think he is the best guy I've faced, and obviously if you watch that fight, it was one hell of a fight. It was a tough night at the office for both of us. And but then when you just go on pure toughness, you have to go with either Brad Tavares or Sean Strickland. Just the amount of damage they were able to take and just...
Now let's talk about the fight that's been buzzing all week. Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan. It all started when Chael Sonnen made a bold claim. He said Ilia versus Arman for the UFC lightweight title is 100% happening. He dropped this during an interview with Mike Bone, and of course it sparked a lot of talk. But let's be real, it's Chael. The guy's known for saying outrageous stuff. Half the time no one knows what's real and what's just classic Chael being Chael. But now, Arman Tsarukyan himself has spoken. And what he revealed? Huge. In an interview with Kamil Gadzhiev, Arman said something massive. When asked why he's not fighting another top contender to earn his title shot, he dropped a bomb. He said the UFC won't let him fight anyone else right now because they're preparing him for a title fight. According to Arman, he had private conversations with Dana White and UFC matchmakers. They told him straight up, he's next. No backup fight, no eliminator, just the belt. So now, that rumor about Topuria versus Tsarukyan, it's not just talk anymore, it's real. And if Arman's telling the truth, and there's no reason to doubt him, then the UFC is officially lining up Topuria versus Tsarukyan Tsarukyan for El Matador's first title defense at 155. Let's break down Arman's interview, now translated from Russian. What are the chances of Topuria versus Tsarukyan being the next fight at 1555? Absolutely, that's the fight. It couldn't be more obvious to me, and look, if they were still trying to stall my title shot, I'd just keep smashing everyone in front of me until they had no choice. But that's not the case anymore, thankfully. So where are we now with this fight? Can you tell us more? Sure. I actually just spoke with Dana White and the UFC matchmakers. They're not offering me any other fights right now because they're actively working on setting up the title fight between me and Topuria. I'm very confident that's the fight that's next. I'm fighting Topuria for the belt. Now here's the big question. What makes Ilia Topuria so good? We all see the speed, the power, the gas tank, the calm in the chaos, but what really separates him? Well, his physiotherapy coach, Jose Cabanillas, just opened up, and what he said is honestly mind-blowing. Ilia isn't just a freak athlete, he's a pioneer. He's using elite-level sports science in MMA at a level no one else is touching. Cabanillas says Ilia is bringing in advanced protocols from top-level football clubs, programs based on hard data, science, and precision, and adapting them to fighting. No one else in MMA is doing it like this, and it gets even crazier. Cabanillas has worked with elite athletes for over a decade. He's used the best technology out there to measure performance, and he said Ilia's cognitive and reaction scores are the highest he's ever seen. That includes professional football players, some of the fastest and most explosive athletes in the world. He also said Ilia's decision-making under pressure is what truly makes him special. He processes chaos better than anyone he's ever trained, and he's always getting better. Not just fight to fight, but literally week to week. Ilia learns so quickly, the team around him has to constantly adapt just to keep up. It's scary how fast he evolves. Even his move up to lightweight was done with complete precision. Cabanillas said Ilia added muscle and knockout power without losing an ounce of speed thanks to his world-class strength coach and the rest of his team. He now hits harder, moves just as fast, and his body is operating at 100%. They even use neuromuscular activation protocols after the weight cut and right up to fight night to make sure his brain and body are in sync. They use everything: visual stimulation, muscle tuning, high-tech tools, you name it, they've got it. And get this, Ilia Topuria has never had a major injury. That's not luck, that's design. Cabanillas said they treat his body as if he had injuries, so they prevent them before they even happen. That's how they keep him sharp, healthy, and dangerous. This is next-level stuff. Topuria isn't just a fighter. He's a blueprint for what the future of MMA might look like. And now, we may be just weeks away from seeing him defend his title for the first time against a hungry, dangerous Arman Tsarukyan. This fight could change everything.